Reed Arena here in Aggieland, and tonight Texas A&M welcomes 8th-ranked Gonzaga to town. Third all-time meeting between these two programs, and the Aggies have an opportunity as Gonzaga looks to keep their season rolling, hoping for another Final Four trip. Welcome courtside, everybody. Tom Hart alongside John Sunvold. It's simply amazing to think what Mark Few has built up in Spokane in the Pacific Northwest. He has turned that school and that program into a blue blood.
You know, maybe he's the best coach in college basketball, what he has built. It's funny, he was talking about blue bloods today, and I'm thinking, how many years do you have to be great to be a blue blood? He's one of the best, and he's got another team that's loaded that could be a Final Four team. You take a look at his numbers. Last year, disappointed that they weren't a Final Four team and possibly the national champs, but they've reloaded and they're great again.
They have one of the best offenses in all of college basketball, but they're led by a transfer-laden backcourt, including a familiar face to folks in the SEC. Well, Admon Gilder.
Admon Gilder was terrific here as an Aggie for 3 seasons. He's solid, good defender, good shooter, does everything the right way. Now, can he be explosive enough to take it to another level? We'll see that. But he returns tonight. There's got to be some nerves. He's got a lot of family, a lot of friends. He's played against ex-teammates. It should be fun.
It's a new era for A&M hoops. Buzz Williams has come over from Virginia Tech, a Texas native who is a blue-collar worker, former NAIA manager. That's how he got started in college basketball. 13th season as a head man, and he's looking for some veterans to spark his Texas A&M team.
Savion Flagg is the guy that we will keep an eye on, and one of the best down the stretch a year ago in the SEC. But he's got to be a scorer tonight. He's got to be a rebounder. He can't turn the ball over. And then Wendell Mitchell, he can shoot it, but he's not shot the ball well in the first couple ball games. Can he get on track? Last year he led this Aggie squad in scoring in the SEC.
A&M hasn't had a home win against a top 10 team since 2008. That was Texas. They have never hosted a non-conference top 10 team. New era for the Aggies. They're in the home whites, Gonzaga in the road blue. And here we go, the great crowd on hand tonight here at Reed Arena.
The Zags will love to put any pace they can to the games. We'll see how the Aggies want to do it.
Here's Wendell Mitchell into the paint, and little floater goes as he gets more accustomed to that Aggie uniform. Started his college career at Baylor.
And how quickly the Zags will push it, but A&M back defensively.
Gilder too much, and Corey Kispert couldn't follow it up. By the way, you saw the starting lineup for Gonzaga. No Killian Tilly. He is still out trying to get back from his injury, but he was very active in practice today, and he was active even in pregame shoot-around. Andre Gordon has nowhere to go. Jonathan Aku, and the shot clock already down to 6.
And everything to A&M under a new coach is new to these players. They've got to play maybe more loosely than they have so far the first 2 ball games.
Petrushev with the rebound for Gonzaga. Mentioned the new backcourt. Ryan Woolridge is a Texas native. He'll run the point. Last he played at North Texas.
Zags have terrific shooters. Off the dribble, they can penetrate, they can push it inside, and when they kick it out, guys are catch and release type players.
A&M will bring a double from the baseline all night on the Gonzaga bigs, and J.J. Chandler picks up a foul as they bring it for the first time. Buzz Williams' team off to a 2-0 start, but they had to come from behind to beat Louisiana Monroe last time out. Here's Woolridge.
Interesting for the Zags when you start with 2 new guards out front, though they're veteran guards. Woolridge the transfer and Gilder the transfer, but they've got a lot of responsibility to really perform at the Gonzaga level.
Sophomore from Serbia, Petrushev gets his first bucket.
He's a scorer. Although every one of the players on the Zags on the floor right now can all score the ball. Everyone's capable of 20 points. That's why they're hard to defend.
They're 3-0 in this season. They average over 100 points a game, coming off of a 97-point outburst against North Dakota. Petrushev on the glass.
And the Aggies would love for Mitchell to get his jump shot going. Has struggled so far early in the season.
And a Gonzaga turnover will give it right back to A&M.
Tom, you know that Buzz Williams wants nothing more than to get off to a good start and get this very vocal crowd going.
Yeah.
Great turnout tonight.
Guys in the pregame show mentioned it. It's a home football weekend for Texas A&M. They got South Carolina in here tomorrow. There'll be 102,000 folks at Kyle Field. And a lot of them already in town. Here's Savion Flagg. Flagg got it deep and then almost threw it away. And it's tipped out of bounds, they say, by Gonzaga, and Petrushev. It'll stay with A&M.
Flagg played well against the Zags last season in the loss up at Gonzaga. He had 15 points the second half. He had 18 on the game, but he was solid the second half. And really the last month of last season, he was terrific and became more aggressive on the offensive end. He's going to have to do that all season long. The Aggies to be good.
Nice take by Andre Gordon, freshman from Sidney, Ohio.
Shake of the head by Mark Few. No help on the drive. Easy bucket.
There's that double from the baseline. Petrushev sticks with it. Gets his Ole Miss back and then has it blocked out of bounds.
Andre Gordon, the freshman. Penetration really gets to the rim. The help is late. Easy bucket.
On the defensive side, why is that double so important to Buzz Williams?
Well, you got to get there quickly, and the reason is you don't want the big man to be able to either A, to get the shot off, or to make an easy look, swing the ball weak side. They're a great jump shooting team.
A breakout for J.J. Chandler, and he draws the foul.
Chandler, the lefty, junior season. Got to be more consistent this season for Buzz Williams on the offensive end.
Foul whistled on Anton Watson. And J.J. Chandler to the free throw line.
You know, Tom, when we talked to Buzz Williams today, my question, because he's doing everything differently, obviously it's a new system. What's difficult is for even the veteran players to try to figure out not only what coach wants, but to lead the team.
Yeah.
A coach is on the sideline. The players are on the floor. If the veteran players, if it's Chandler, if it's Flagg, if it's Mitchell, if they're overthinking also, it's a very difficult. They've got to lead. They've got to play their game, still understanding what Buzz Williams wants.
The free throw coming for Chandler. It's the same book, but a different chapter for Mark Few. As Josh Nebo enters to give A&M a little bit more size inside. Mark Few, for the first time, after everything they lost to NBA contracts last season, is working with a brand new backcourt.
Well, think of this. The guys they've lost, and then they come back, they're still a top 10 team. They're still a favorite to many to be a Final Four squad. And he looked at us like, but ain't Coach Wood, hey, you guys are crazy. I got new guys out front. I've got freshmen. I got new faces low. We're not healthy.
And they're missing their best player in Killian Tilly. Mitchell with the lob. And the body control wasn't there for Nebo. Couldn't finish. Here come the Zags the other way. And their leading scorer, Petrushev, will go to the free throw line after the foul on Savion Flagg.
See how the Zags run the floor. Petrushev, even the bigs can run rim to rim, and they get low post position. So no matter, as a player on the offensive end for the Zags, Kispert simply lifted up as though he was going to shoot it. They've got great shooters.
Sure.
And everything about shoot-around today for the Aggies was they can't shoot it where they catch it. We've got to get them off the dribble. So that means A&M's going to run in a lot of shooters. So you're going to see the Zags ball fake, take a dribble for a shot, throw it inside, make a defense switch and move, and make the Aggies try to cover up all the opportunities that the Zags present.
Drew Timme replaced Anton Watson, the Texas native, into the game for the first time. Petrushev coming off of a double-double, 19 points, 15 boards, and 4 blocks against North Dakota. Quentin Jackson will enter, along with Emmanuel Miller for A&M.
And here come the new faces for Buzz Williams. We talked about the old guys. We talked about Chandler, Flagg, and Mitchell. Now you've got some newer faces. Again, the question is, can they play without overthinking? There's a lot of things in their mind of what the coach wants.
Jackson left his feet and came down with it, and immediately junior college transfer out of Inglewood, California, commits a turnover. Drew Timme hit 16 in the game against North Dakota. Talking with Mark Few about kind of a non-traditional big in Timme. And we got on the subject of Kelly Olynyk, and he said, yeah, that's a fair comparison. Not that he's Olynyk now, but if he can follow that blueprint, He's that style player.
And what was neat that you brought it up, and he looked at you and he kept thinking, he goes, that's a pretty good point. He hopes he turns out like one.
I get a gold star for that one, don't I?
Yes, you do.
A&M has an early lead on the undefeated Zags, the 8th-ranked team in the country. Back to College Station in a moment. Morgan Fair here in the first 4 minutes of Reed Arena in College Station. Welcome back. Tom Hart alongside John Sunvold. It's the first year of the Buzz Williams era here at Texas A&M, and you look to how they got there, and he's taking over a program where the cupboard wasn't exactly bare. They've been to 2 Sweet 16s in the last 4 years, but head coach Billy Kennedy struggled in conference play. They weren't healthy last year. He was 6-12 in the SEC, and when they lost in the SEC tournament, it seemed fait accompli. The Buzz Williams is going to come back to the Lone Star State.
Yeah, I think everybody around here and in college basketball thought that would happen, and it did. But Billy Kennedy, the cupboard wasn't bare. There's some terrific players. And the neat part about what Bud Williams told us today was he knew J.J. Chandler. He knew Savion Flagg. He knew their families. He had them on unofficial visits up to Virginia Tech. So he knew what he was getting and the guys he's getting. And he's got to bring in new players. They need some more veteran-type guys when they come in, but he's going to build a program.
It was a close loss to Duke for Virginia Tech for Buzz Williams. And then he turned around after 5 years with the Hokies in 3 consecutive NCAA tournaments. One of the things that we talked to Buzz about this afternoon was building the program at Virginia Tech. His first team that won 2 ACC games, both on banked-in threes at the buzzer to win by 1. That was the foundation of what turned into the winningest class in Virginia Tech history.
Well, his success has been fabulous. 4 consecutive 20-win seasons, NCAA 3 times at Virginia Tech. Did the same thing when he was at Marquette. 5 straight NCAA appearances. So he knows how to build a program. He suggested to us he wouldn't like to do it again,
right.
But he's here to do it again.
Andre Gordon with the jumper on the other side. Gonzaga had it blocked, but Petrushev puts it right back up and in.
Again, Tom, watch how quickly the Zags put pressure on a defensive team. A&M scored as they're getting back right away. Wooldridge puts it to the rim. Guys are trying to hustle back, offensive rebound, put back for Gonzaga.
Here's Quentin Jackson. He got a bump, no whistle, and it's picked up by Drew Timme, pushed the other way.
And a couple turnovers for Jackson. He's a junior college player.
Woolridge drew the defense and kicked, and we got an offensive foul on Ryan Woolridge.
Wooldridge out of North Texas, the transfer. Graduate transfer. He's got a pretty good bounce to his game. But you can't leave your feet when you're kind of sliding through the lane once you make a pass. Jump stop. Even after you've thrown it, just jump stop. So there's no more momentum.
A lot of different guys for this Gonzaga team can handle the basketball, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Hard to pressure them.
They can handle it. They all shoot it well.
Wendell Mitchell has it rim out. And Nebo was able to control the rebound. Here's Mitchell again.
A&M happy that Nebo is back. Tough bucket by Mitchell. Nebo is a physical matchup for this Zag squad. Have to put a body on him. He'll get a lot of offensive rebounds. Great shot blocker on the defensive end.
Timme got fouled. Touched by Emmanuel Miller, his first.
He's fouled on number 5, Emmanuel Miller. That is his first.
Mark Few said we can't give Aggies more than 1 attempt. And he said we want them to shoot jump shots. No buckets at the rim. So far they've given up too many easy ones.
Easy to say, but Gonzaga is number 1 in the country in effective field goal percentage. Mark Few's team doesn't miss many shots no matter where they come from.
Early season, this will be the most athletic team they've played, though, in A&M. And this Aggie squad will get after you defensively. They're quick to the ball. That's what Gilder does best. He's a good catch and release player. Usually needs a little bit of space to get a shot off. But he's got a good release. Doesn't have to have a full jump to have a jump shot. He kind of shoots it on the way up.
2 years ago, he led Texas A&M from behind the arc at 40%. Savion Flagg slices in.
I always think Flagg's got to be more offensive-minded, especially this season.
Kispert, offensive foul, second charge against Gonzaga.
Offensive foul on number 24.
The speed coming down, I've already talked about. But what the Zags now have to understand, the players on the floor, A&M's getting back defensively. It may not be there. A&M's been able to get in, take charges. Kispert, who's a great outside shooter, would have been easy to stop, hit a little shot off the window.
Yeah. Mitchell trying to wrap it around to Nebo. Here's Gonzaga the other way. Outside, Kispert for three. Way off the mark. And Flagg got tied up. Possession arrow will stay with Gonzaga.
Aggie substitution, Andre Gordon.
Andre Gordon returns. He's already knocked down a jumper.
For J.J. Chandler.
Mark Few has a very aggressive scheduling philosophy in the non-conference. As you would imagine, they were undefeated in the WCC again last year. Here's Kispert. They'll play in the battle for Atlantis next month, or later this month, I should say. And they've got a three-game stretch with Washington, Arizona, and North Carolina that will define their season. Ball knocked away after the Gordon miss.
Yeah, that's some kind of schedule, huh?
Yep.
North Carolina home and home. They went North Carolina last season.
It'll be the second time an ACC team has come to the kennel. Knocked away by Flagg, but didn't chase it.
And let's be honest, Gonzaga is one of the great college programs in basketball.
Gilder. And Nebo went down awkwardly. Talking to Mark Few about it, he said, it was pretty cool. Went to Chapel Hill last year to see all the folks that came out and were excited about us playing there. He said, I'd always heard it was a wine and cheese crowd. He said, they couldn't have been more wrong. The place was raucous.
He's listening to Roy Williams too many times.
It could be.
I think what's interesting right now, obviously we're in the middle of November. So Gonzaga's had 3 games, somewhat easy opponents, which is what happens when you start the year off. They're playing an A&M team that in this home building, but they're aggressive and they're quick, this Aggie squad. So the shots aren't as easy to come by for Gonzaga. They've not shot it well, even when they're open. But a lot of that is because of the speed. They're kind of rushing some things.
Shot clock winding down on the Aggies. J.J. Chandler lost it. Chance for a run out. Miller is there to knock it away. Open three. And Nebo tipped that one out of bounds. It'll go to Gonzaga.
And there is a timeout on the floor.
12-9, Texas A&M taking advantage of early opportunities against Gonzaga. And the 8th-ranked team in the country trailing on the road. Next Friday, #1 Kentucky plays host to St. Mary's in a non-conference matchup at Rupp Arena. That's 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. It's Mount St. Mary's, not St. Mary's. Usually, when I can't read, it can be very confusing. St. Mary's lost to Winthrop, which was a surprise.
Yeah, since we're doing Gonzaga, you're thinking of St. Mary's. It has a chance. Co-favorites to win the league this year.
There was only one Gonzaga player on the preseason All-WCC team. That was Tilly, who's out currently. And you consider what Mark Few lost. The guys going on to the NBA, including Rui Hachimura, first Japanese player selected in the first round in NBA history. That is a lot of talent that walked out the door.
Yeah, Norvell, I think that was the surprise when he went. And there he is with the Lakers. And Perkins in the G League, Brandon Clark. Yeah, that's a lot. When you lose that, most teams, I would say most schools struggle.
Yeah.
Unless you've built one of the great programs in the country. So here Gonzaga sits, and I mean, it's a phenomenal thing to watch this team walk in and how good this squad can be.
It was a great team last year, lost to Texas Tech in the Elite Eight. And with Wofford, the only 2 teams without a conference loss, they won 15 games by 30 points or more.
And really, in the Texas Tech game, had a bad minute and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it was, right?
Yeah, including a key technical foul towards the end of that game after reaching over the end line.
And credit Tech, they went to the championship game, nearly won.
Here's Drew Timme. He takes it off the window. First bucket for the freshman from up in Richardson, Texas at a Pierce High School. He was a 5-star recruit. who blossomed late in his high school career.
Another Dallas product. Richardson just south of Plano, just north of downtown Dallas.
Wendell Mitchell took that one down.
Yeah,
almost a travel.
Very fortunate.
Shot clock at 2. Forced contested shot from Gordon. And then a foul on the putback.
So far, what A&M's getting is almost just one-on-one play.
Yeah.
The Zags are so solid defensively, and the ball's not moving by pass. It's all dribble. So they're trying to beat their guy with the dribble. Really, it's been Mitchell, for the most part, trying to get a shot. That time it was Gordon who took it, and if the bigs inside understand that, then they're just thinking of offensive rebounds.
Josh Nebo didn't play in the first game of the season for Buzz Williams. He was out with a hamstring injury as Savion Flagg returns. A&M team that has some size in the wings, but they're going to need Nebo big time this year. 6'9", about 250. He knocks them both down.
69 blocks last season, averaged about 20 minutes a game. Big, physical, great timing on his jumps.
Joel Ayayi is in the game for Gonzaga. With a few returning backcourt players for him, even though the numbers were limited. And they're able to get it inside and got Miller in the air as he commits his second.
Anton Watson, the freshman, he is going to be a fabulous player in a long line of great players at Gonzaga. A local product, Spokane, Gonzaga Prep.
At 33 in the state championship game as Gonzaga Prep won a pair of 4A state championships. And the next down to first.
You'll love to get them homegrown. Stayed around, didn't have to go anywhere. Playing for one of the best programs in the country right there.
Philip Petrushev returns for Gonzaga, and another one coming for Watson. Watson had a great outing against North Dakota, 15 points on 7 of 11 shooting. And we talked to Buzz Williams about what makes Gonzaga so good, and now they have a chance to put the press on. And he said they not only find a way to get open, but because they're able to kick it out, that's how they end up with high percentage shots from the perimeter.
And very unselfish. Move the basketball, they're great shooters. They put a little full court press. A&M handled it easily. See if they can get a bucket.
Wendell Mitchell has to get halfway down and out.
Mitchell very aggressive on the offensive end.
Gonzaga just 4 of 16 to start this game. Here comes that double. Amon Gilder, the former Aggie, splashes down his second triple of the night.
He has made many in this building, so he's comfortable. He walked in. Obviously, a lot of friends and family here. Watch him at shoot around, very comfortable. It's a place he scored a lot of buckets.
You think he took the team to Torchy's Tacos this afternoon? Maybe Fuego? Show him around town?
He told Coach, I'll handle this one.
Yeah. I'll sit up front, and I'll tell the bus driver exactly where to go. Shot clock at 7. Flagg had his pocket picked. Somehow found it. Shot clock at 3. And it's off the mark. Yavuz Gutekin at a turkey gets his first shot off.
Well, we said it before. Gilder is a terrific spot-up guy. Catches it. The difference is many times when a guy with your defensive coming out to player, they kind of shoot jump shots. You get time. He shoots it on the way up. It's not really a jump shot. A little bit of a Seth Curry quick little release.
In the backcourt with Woolridge, it's the first time Gonzaga has had 2 first-year players in the backcourt since Kevin Pangos and Gary Bell Jr. were doing it for Mark Few back in the day. Woolridge, tough shot, knocks it down. It's a 7-0 Gonzaga run over the last minute 45.
Solid on the defensive end, and you kind of always wonder with this team, where does A&M get buckets? If Flagg's not in the game, Mitchell has to be an aggressive one. He just haven't been able to convert.
Challenge drive by Kispert.
Good defense in the run out.
And Woolridge with the left hand. It's a 9-0 run, and Gonzaga is taking control. Suddenly a 6-point lead for the visitors.
Tom, you mentioned that anybody can bring the ball up, anybody can run the floor. Well, Woolridge, you would think he's the point guard, the lead guy. He's got to have it. No, he's running ahead. They get a rebound, they can push, and all it is an outlet pass, and once they have it under control, boom, they're on a dead run. A&M not back defensively. The Zags on a little bit of a run here.
We've mentioned ad nauseum the new guys in the backcourt, Gilder and Woolridge. What's the toughest transition for a team when you welcome 2 new guys in that scenario?
Well, 2 things. If you're a player, now these are 5th-year seniors, so they've been around, but they're used to doing it the way they've done it for 3 or 4 years. Now you've got to do it the Zag way, right? And the Zag way, they're not going to switch, they're not going to change. So now players got to get into what Coach Few wants and what these teammates want from them. But you've also got to understand, I'm 23 years old. I've got a maturity to me. When we go on the road, I've got to be able to help the coaches, especially on the floor, help the younger players.
Savion Flagg back on the floor for Texas A&M. Woolridge and Gilder have combined for 10 of Gonzaga's 20.
So you got 3 scores. Mitchell, Flagg, Chandler can all score it. Not a good pass.
We got a foul on the floor on the entry. And that's going to be on Joel Ayayi, the sophomore from France.
The Bulldogs are too good defensively for Flagg to wind up and telegraph a bounce pass, right? There's a fortunate whistle for them, but if that whistle wasn't blown, it was a turnover.
Another telegraph pass. Ayayi got the steal that time. 5th turnover for Texas A&M.
And Flagg again with not a good pass. That's a turnover. He had 5 turnovers last ball game. Puts too much pressure on your defense if you can't score on the offensive end. Good pass, nice cut.
And a nice move. Ayayi's first bucket.
The Bulldogs will make you move defensively. They'll make you cover cuts. They'll make you cover post-ups, and they'll make you come out to shooters. Difficult team to match up with.
It's an 11-0 run for the Zags. J.J. Chandler had it blocked.
And here they come, numbers 2-on-1.
Kispert will lead it. And it's knocked out of bounds, but off of Woolridge and back to the Aggies. The Gonzaga Bulldogs have gone on an 11-0 run over the last 3+ minutes. The number 8 team in the country is up by 8. Back to College Station in a moment. Well, Admon Gilder back. Oh, no, what are you doing, man? Oh.
I thought once an Aggie, always an Aggie.
That's what I thought.
Oh, my goodness.
No love.
It's no fair.
Unbelievable. Admon Gilder's knocked down a couple of threes in this one. We're talking about Gonzaga's non-conference schedule. Late this month, they'll head down to the Battle for Atlantis, and they got key opponents in that one. And then that 3-game stretch in December, Washington, Arizona, and Roy Williams coming to town with North Carolina. They will be excited for that one a week before Christmas up in Spokane.
So you've got the winner between Oregon and Seton Hall. Now those are 2 great ball clubs. I watched Dana's club the other night. Obviously Pritchard is back, and Richardson, they're terrific. Kevin Willard, Seton Hall,
I thought Miles Powell was hurt. He came out, we should all be hurt. He blew up again last night.
39 or something?
Something like that.
37.
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't put me on the spot, but he's
Well,
really
37.
good. The dude can score.
Yeah, he can score. Aggies need a bucket.
Who do you go to here?
Well, again, I think the man capable, Mitchell's capable of getting a shot and making shots. Flagg is a guy that's got to be offensive-minded for this team.
Instead, Flagg turns it over again. Great hustle for Gonzaga, and Woolridge couldn't squeeze it. Miller gives it out. Flagg with the left.
Here's the thing, the guys in the blue jerseys are outrunning the guys in the white when they go one direction. And that's that offensive end.
Here's Woolridge. Knocks it down. That new backcourt looks pretty good tonight. And they've led the Bulldogs to a 14-0 run.
Not only does Woolridge have a good bounce to his game, he's got a confidence to his game, a maturity to his game. Doesn't seem bothered. Knows there's got to be a little pressure wearing that uniform, how successful this program's been, and he's having a terrific first half.
It's now a 13-point lead, a 16-0 run, and another timeout taken by Buzz Williams.
Well, Tom, we talked about earlier, they can all handle the ball, they all shoot it well. Pick your poison. You're gonna help off the dribble, you might leave a shooter. Someone would say, well, Woolridge is not one of their best shooters, but he just showed he can knock in shots like the rest of them.
He's a 45% three-point shooter in North Texas. College football tripleheader tomorrow here on the SEC Network. Start at noon Eastern as number 5 Alabama takes on Mississippi State. This game will be shown on the SEC Network, exclusively shot with Skycam hovering above the field. Then it's Kentucky squaring off against Vandy. And SEC Saturday night will stay right here in Aggieland as Will Muschamp comes to town with South Carolina to take on Jimbo Fisher's team. That's 7:30 for SEC Saturday night. A couple football players in the building tonight. Green Bay Packers, Jay Sternberger and Kingsley Keke. I talked to Jace today, saw him in town. I said,
Are they off this weekend?
They're off. Packers are off. I said, what was your first thought about playing for the Green Bay Packers? And he said, don't make the quarterback mad. He said the goal is you play with a Hall of Fame quarterback, catch everything that comes your way, and keep Mr. Rogers happy.
They're awfully good this year.
Mark French has checked into the game for A&M. Shot clock winding down again. And another missed shot. Gonzaga scored the last 16. The Zags have made their last 7. And it's knocked away by Gultekin.
Good defense, but not a good pass. Five new players in for A&M. Mark French, as you mentioned, the senior has been around, but the other guys all new.
The lefty French turns it over. Great jump in the passing lane by Woolridge. And he got fouled on his way to the bucket, and he's holding his right hand, it looks like. Went down awkwardly. Gonzaga has little depth to play with in the backcourt. And they're going to let Woolridge catch his breath.
Let's hope he's okay. Like you said, he's holding his wrist. Oh.
Got a cut below his left knee.
Okay.
So they'll get that cleaned up, and Woolridge will go to the free throw line. He's started his college career at the University of San Diego, spent a semester there before transferring then to North Texas, and sat out his entire first year, took a redshirt year. And by the time he left North Texas, he was a 1,000-point scorer and third-team all-conference.
I wonder if he cut his knee camera on what? How would you cut your knee? It looked like to us he was holding his right wrist right there.
It is odd. He would just open it up on the hardwood. See that very often. And
still holding his hand.
Aggies foul on number 12, Mark French. That is his first 15th foul against the Aggies.
And so
he's got a smile, so that's good.
So if a player in this situation leaves the game because of an injury, his coach can pick who will shoot the free throws. If he left the game and it wasn't because of injury, the opposing coach would pick.
So that's why the big smile when Woolridge was coming out, and Admon Gilder gets to shoot the free throw.
Yeah, otherwise the visiting coach would choose from the 4 guys that were on the floor who would shoot for the replaced player. Gilder 4-4 this season from the line.
That for a shooter, Tom, that's like a miss.
Because that hit the rim?
Yeah, it hit every part of the rim. And he kind of had a little smile thinking, okay, that's my miss. This will be all net.
I wish my
He got
misses,
away with one.
I wish my misses still counted as points. A&M.
It's the key in life, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you still get points for your misses in life, you're going to be okay.
Aggies have gone more than 8 minutes without a field goal. They've missed their last 9. They spent a lot of time working on Gonzaga's full court pressure today. But when Gonzaga was struggling early, Bulldogs didn't have a chance to put it on. That has certainly changed.
Too much standing offensively. If you stand, a team like Gonzaga eats you alive.
And Jackson traveled with it.
If you don't make a defender move, either by cutting or moving the ball and side to side or inside outside, a defensive team can, even if they're man-to-man, they can almost play a zone. It's like resting, and all they do is get their track shoes on. When the shot goes up, we want to run the other way. Watch how the Zags run offense. Side to side, inside, outside, make you chase the ball, try to find a shooter.
Kispert left it short.
Kispert has not gotten his stroke going. He's a terrific outside shooter.
Timmy couldn't get it to go, and Gonzaga's struggling. They've missed 2 of their last 9 now. Meanwhile, A&M has missed each of their last 9. French got turned around. Hard to find a threat off the dribble for A&M.
Yep.
Timmy with the board. Buzz Williams was trying to teach his guys the value of transition defense. And when he asked them what we have to do to be better at transition defense, they gave him some very simple answers. And he said, yeah, but it starts on the other end of the floor. And the Aggies' turnovers have helped Gonzaga to an 18-0 run. All right, gentlemen, thank you. Yeah, Auburn got a big one today. Samir Dowdy had 33. But Alabama fell to 1-2 under first-year head coach Nate Oates. They lost at Rhode Island 93-79. And these non-conference games, you don't have to tell Gonzaga fans the importance of the non-conference. It helps define your program in the eyes of the voters, and it builds your resume before you even get to conference play. On the SEC side, there have been some tough non-conference losses already 2 weeks into the season.
Well, and think about the league, how good it was a year ago with 9 teams moving on. And you're thinking of November, December has become college basketball. It really has become. Besides, you got conference play, and that's going to play its way out. But when they start selecting teams for the NCAA tournament, they're looking at November, December. Who'd you play? Where'd you play? Where'd you win? Very important for your conference to get off to a good start.
That ball rebounded by Texas A&M. Jonathan Aku, freshman from Nigeria.
And it's not been easy for Timmy to score inside against A&M.
Wild shot for the Aggies. Gilder gets tied up by his former teammate Mark French, and it will be Texas A&M basketball. What is A&M's, I know it's early, but what will A&M's identity be on the offensive side?
Well, I'm just, as I sit here and watch, now again, I watched practice today. It's a full practice. It wasn't shoot around. And Buzz is trying to put in his stuff, and I get that. When I watch the older players, it appears they're trying to appease the coach, right? I'm trying to do what they want me to do, but sometimes they're not playing. Like they're gifted players. You got to make plays while you're still trying to do what the new coach wants.
Yeah.
Buzz is happy about how the guys have responded to coaching, how they're making some changes in what they do. But these kids have all been well coached before. Billy Kennedy was a terrific coach. The turnovers are coming because there's such hesitation at just making a play.
He brought an entirely new 5
Good
at that
pass,
stoppage.
Didi.
And there's Timmy getting a point in the paint. He's got 4. Younger brother Walker, an up-and-coming player in the Dallas area.
Tom, I've always saw it. If you're a player, again, I played. I didn't coach. Coach is over there on the side. If you were playing a pickup game right now, if A&M's just playing a pickup game, would they worry about some of these passes, right? Would they? No, you try to score.
Yeah.
Try to stay on the floor. We're going to keep the game.
Nebo will have a chance for an N1.
And if you're Mitchell, Chandler, Flag, Nebo, you huddle up and you go, come on, we've got to play. It's not as though the Zags are on top of their game tonight.
Well, they were for a 3-minute stretch.
Yeah, they were.
First bucket for A&M in 9 minutes and 48 seconds. They went 11-18 between field goals.
Good matchup, Flag, Garden.
Nice pass.
See how the ball moves? Wow. Every time there's a switch, the ball skips. They try to make a defensive team talk to get back to their guys. A&M just a step late. If you're a step late, you give up good looks.
Anton Watson is going to the bench. He got injured on that last play, holding his bicep or his shoulder. Joel Ayayi going to the free throw line.
Returns for Gonzaga. To the line for the Bulldogs, number 11, Joel Ayayi, shooting 1.
Arm kind of got caught up on Savion Flag, who was whistled for the foul on Ayayi. Stolen away.
Flag never looked at the rim. Offensive-minded players play the rim. Passes then become easier.
Kispert hard on the glass. And there's Joel Ayayi. He's all over the place right now.
And hustle by this Bulldog squad.
J.J. Chandler.
I'm going to sound really simple, but that's better than a turnover, right?
Sure.
You got to play the rim. Your eyes need to be on the rim as you run offense to make a defender think possibility you're going to shoot. Guys like Kispert, he plays the rim. See the ball fake, eyes are on the rim, you got to come, you got to attack. Defensively, you got to get to him.
Woolridge beats the shot clock as Gonzaga swung the basketball to get an open 3 for the transfer.
Unselfish play. They like to say Gonzaga basketball, I'll just say Mark Few basketball. Unselfish, skip the ball across, find the open man, make defenders chase. Wide open, can't get to him.
Gonzaga just got a delay of game warning after the bucket, which means if there's any flopping penalties whistled in the second half, there'll be a technical shot. And great defense by Gonzaga as A&M turns it over that time. J.J. Chandler commits the foul, his second.
How much better to be welcomed in to by your new teammates for Woolridge and Gilder to play well early in the season, right?
Oh, yeah.
To take a charge, to run the show, to knock in shots.
A&M has turned it over 10 times. Gonzaga has scored 27 of this game's last 30 points. Nebo's and 1, the only blip there. There comes a double.
Good hands by Nebo.
And the Aggies get the takeaway. Wendell Mitchell had a block. He went down. Here comes another Gonzaga run out. They got 4 on 2. And it spins home for Admon Gilder back at A&M, and he's into double figures in the first half.
It's a track meet on the offensive end. Averaging 100 points a game, they were up to 40 after a slow start to this game.
J.J. Chandler challenge, and with 4/10 of a second, Philip Petruccia picks up his first personal.
Admon Gilder loves to stop and shoot this shot, but this one right to the rim. Maybe got away with a little bit of a
little chicken wing?
Yeah, a little bit. Didn't extend it far enough, so. And officials maybe thought, hey, good homecoming move.
A&M without TJ Starks. He's been suspended for the time being for a violation of team rules, so more playing time for J.J. Chandler at the point. Although Starks had an ankle injury and wasn't going to be likely to play in this game anyway.
Another offensive weapon, though, for the Aggies will be Starks. Starks is the kind of guy that gives them energy, can shoot it. Very tough to defend against, especially off the dribble.
Most of the Aggies' points lately have come from the free throw line. 3 of their last 5. And that's how the first half will come to an end. As the Zags scored 29 of the last 34 points in this game. One of the best teams in the country flexed their muscles to start on the defensive end. It led to easy looks on the other side. And the Zags have taken control of this one, up 3 touchdowns. Let's get you back to the studio. Here's Darian Damian. Back at College Station, where Gonzaga has taken control of this game at the half and in the first half. A dominating performance. We get ready to start the second. It's a 40-19 lead for the 8th-ranked team in the country. Tom Hart alongside John Sunvold. The funny part about this game is through the first 5 minutes, Gonzaga was not playing good basketball. They turned it up quick.
Yeah, they weren't very good, and I kept thinking A&M needs to, make more buckets and kind of stretch a lead, because all of a sudden A&M could score. They have no assists in the first half and 10 turnovers.
Let's take a look at how this game went down after a slow start. A game that was kind of a baseball score early. Gonzaga was able to knock down shots, and this new backcourt has been sensational. Gilder and Woolridge have combined for 22.
Nice to be back in the state of Texas. Ryan Woolridge, the senior transfer from North Texas, and then Admon Gilder, who was right here at A&M for 3 years, sat out last year and then gets to play back here at home, so to speak. Solid 10 points in the first half. And an easy first half for the Bulldogs.
So statistically, you mentioned it, 0 assists and 10 turnovers for Texas A&M. Gonzaga able to turn those turnovers into a 29-5 run to end the half. They have more than doubled A&M up on the glass. They've held the Aggies to 0 for 6 from behind the arc, while Gonzaga has knocked down 40% of their threes. Texas A&M has more free throws made than field goals made. 7 for 7 from the line, 6 for 25 from the floor. And all of this with Corey Kispert, who turns it over there, having an off night, at least an off first half.
He missed all 7 of his shots in the first half. A couple of them weren't very even close. Frustrated a little bit. Let's see if he can get his game going.
J.J. Chandler with the lob, and he turned it over. Here's Kispert. And then Chandler steals it right back. Turnover number 10 for Gonzaga. Admon Gilder commits his second.
That is his second. First team foul against the Bulldogs in the second half.
Chandler throws up a wild one, trying to get it over the top of Philip Petrushiev. 3-ball skips off.
Tom, the Bulldogs will not stop playing how they play. They're going to continue to push the ball. Make the Aggies get back defensively. Terrific feed, good off the bounce. Mitchell with the first assist of the night for the Bulldogs, or A&M.
It's odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Philip Petrushiev, sophomore from Belgrade, Serbia, at a Mount Verde Academy in Florida, where they won a national championship as a senior.
Another guy that can really score the ball inside. He can step out, face the bucket also.
Manuel Miller almost turned it over. Shot clock winding down, and that one was blocked by Gilder, but it was fouled by Emmanuel Miller. He gets his first field goal of the night. And Mark Few, Rubbin's racing over there on the sideline here in Texas.
Almost taken out.
J.J. Chandler ran right into him.
Good thing he plays a lot of pickleball, he said. Good dish, easy.
I didn't know
bucket.
pickleball was a contact sport.
Well, you know, but it keeps him agile and moving. As we get a little older, that pickleball kind of keeps you in shape. A little better than tennis.
Yeah.
Not as much movement.
Right.
Smaller court.
Kispert from the corner, able to draw rim, and Woolridge flips it back up and in. He's got a game-high 14. 12th offensive rebound for Gonzaga. Whether it's tonight or in the non-conference, and this might be a loaded question, but where can Buzz Williams' team improve if Chuck Mitchell hits a three?
So let's just think offensively. When you get T.J. Starks back, right? He's a difference maker with the basketball. He creates problems for any defensive team just by him off the bounce as Kispert finally hits his first bucket. So Starks can give them a little dimension that other guys then can play off his bounce. They'll have more open shots. But the rest of them got to get better. Mitchell's got to be sharper. J.J. Chandler's got to be sharper. And obviously, I'm a big Savion Flagg fan. He can't be just okay.
Gilder's got 13. T.J. Starks out with an injury and out with a suspension. Nice move. And there's Chuck Mitchell inside. I think about Starks last year, and I thought sometimes he was too aggressive on the offensive end. He's a guy that can feel his oats and put up a lot of shots. They would love to have that type A personality on the floor right now for him.
Yeah, he can at times get a little mano-a-mano with someone from another team. But he is a gifted offensive player.
Kispert got his hands in there, knocked it away, and Gonzaga will push.
Run.
One.
Good hands by Mitchell.
It'll be Gonzaga basketball.
And there is a timeout.
Wendell Mitchell already has more points this half than he had in the entire first. Got through traffic, put it off the glass and in. Gonzaga leads Texas A&M 50-30 here at Reed Arena, home of the 12th man at Texas A&M. Well, it's finally here. You can download the Disney Plus app right now and start streaming the best of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic ad-free and wherever and whenever you want them. For more, go to DisneyPlus.com. That include Finding Nemo.
All I know is the Texas A&M soccer team must have beaten the Horns tonight in soccer because it's down Horns at half court and the soccer team is celebrating.
They had the soccer game on the big screen here before the game, and the crowd was reacting positively to it. You were just with the Texas AD a couple of weeks ago, Chris Del Conte.
Yes.
What did he say about Texas and Texas A&M renewing the rivalry in football?
Well, I was at the TCU and Texas game, football, ran into him. We were talking about Kansas, Missouri going to play again in basketball as a Missouri grad, both of us. And I said, when do we see A&M and Texas in football? And his answer was, we would play them tomorrow. So that's how the Longhorns look at it.
They tried to get the Aggies on the schedule here in the near future. And so Del Conte, and those reports were publicized, they couldn't do it, so A&M said, we're not interested right now. So Texas went and scheduled Alabama instead. I think it is what it is, right?
That's one I think the head coach goes, we scheduled who? South Alabama, right?
That'd be nice.
No, not Alabama.
Chuck Mitchell off the mark with his 3. And
that's a tough non-league game, don't you think?
Sure.
In the Big 12, they play 9 conference football games.
They do. If the college football playoff goes to 8, then those non-conference games are going to carry a lot of weight. Just like Mark Few's non-conference schedule carries a lot of weight for him.
Yeah, no doubt.
To get all of their metrics up to where they can get great seeding in the postseason. If you go to KenPom right now, KenPom.com, they have the Zags favored in every single game this season, with the exception being their trip to Arizona. Another knockaway, another run out, and a jam for Anton Watson. And a Spokane native has a bucket here in the second half.
Active hands. He knocked it away, and the unselfish play teammate gave it back to him for the finish.
Xavier Flagg getting a little more aggressive in the half court. Tough night for the Aggies. And then a bump on the baseline will turn into a Gonzaga foul. If it's Timmy's, it's his 3rd.
You see the active hands by Watson. Woolridge leads it ahead. Easy finish. You already mentioned this freshman from Gonzaga Prep, right in Spokane. Beautiful city. Gordon, Miller, Jackson, all new players for A&M this season and line up together.
Xavier Flagg from the corner. And Timmy's got the board. Gordon with the ball fake had it opened up for him. And Flagg gets the putback to go. Texas A&M just 1 of 11 from 3.
I'd say this, Buzz Williams can't fault the effort. I mean, guys are playing hard. Hasn't been pretty. I've said it many times, it's November basketball. Sometimes it gets a little ugly. Bulldogs a little more, look like more of a well-oiled machine.
Here's a push out for Gilder. And Gonzaga once again beating the Aggies down the floor. It turns into another transition bucket for Anton Watson. Largest lead of the game for Gonzaga. And Buzz Williams going to use the timeout here. 12:51 left in this one in College Station.
All right, fans, let's get excited. I've got Chandler coming onto the court. He's going to have the chance to win $1,000.
It's time for the Mayhem Moment, brought to you by Allstate. Gonzaga was trailing this game early, 14-11. They went on a 20-0 run, and they went from down 14-11 to up 31-14. And it was just like that. Zags able to flex their muscles and show exactly what they could do. It's the 8th-ranked team in the country. And they really haven't slowed down, Sonny, except A&M has made a couple shots here in the second half.
Again, all these games for Gonzaga, every game's important, but the importance part is because they've got 2 new faces in that backcourt.
Yeah.
That's a big difference than they've ever had. And obviously, newer people that haven't played as many minutes from last year, but all of the current players know the Gonzaga way. You bring in 2 guards out front. They've got to learn game by game what it means and how to perform for this program, and they've been very good tonight.
Talking with Mark Few this afternoon, and we were asking him about that transition. Especially, it's not just that you get 2 new guys in the backcourt. It was the talent that you lost off the team last year. Not the 4 guys that went on to the professional ranks, but 2 others that were there as well. And I said, do you find yourself teaching a lot more? And he almost laughed. He said, well, 300%. Yes, it's every day. I think as coaches, you kind of forget how easy you have it when you have a veteran team that knows the ins and outs of your program.
Well, when you can call a drill and guys go right to the drill and you run it, you're to the next drill. And that's what I marvel always about John Calipari. You know?
Yeah. Well, the secret there is he's running the same practices that he's run for 15 years.
Yeah.
Because it's very basic, especially early on.
But he doesn't get to have some veteran junior senior team that advances practices. He's still doing the same somewhat basic stuff, more on the defensive end than anyway.
There's Timmy inside. Here's Gordon from the corner. And we got a timeout on the floor. 60-32. When we return, we're going to talk about the building of a program and how Gonzaga got to the point they are now as one of the nation's elite, 3-0, and looking to go 4-0. Eighth-ranked Gonzaga in control over Texas A&M, 60-32. Tom Hart alongside John Sunvold. Well, this Gonzaga program has been built primarily on the back of Mark Few. 20 straight tournaments as the head coach, 21 consecutive for the program under former coach Don Munson, who Few was an assistant for a decade. They've won 165 games in the last 5 seasons. That's best in the country. 10 Sweet 16s, 4 times Elite 8, and 1 trip to the Final Four. And we're talking with Coach Few today about the building of a program, and it goes step by step. But I think it's interesting because when you were working for CBS, you called their first tournament in 1999.
Yeah, up in
out
Seattle.
West, and it's not the program that people know now.
No, and back then, 1999, they're in the NCAA. Dan Munson has a squad. Mark Few was an assistant for 10 years at that time. Richie Fromm, Matt Santiago, Angelo. They were at school that everybody knew that's where John Stockton played, right? That's how I knew him. So you go to Seattle, they're in the NCAA, they beat Minnesota, then they knock off Stanford, get to Sweet 16, they beat Florida. They lose to UConn, Richard Hamilton's team that won it all. And that was kind of the first time that we thought, well, who is Gonzaga? And everybody's going, well, is it Gonzaga? Or no, it's the Zags. I mean, that was a big deal.
That's funny.
As a broadcaster, is it Gonzaga? Because if you go to the East Coast, everybody says, well, it's Gonzaga. But no, it's the Zags.
Well, people should know better now.
Yes.
There's no question about it. But so how do you build a program? And he did it, obviously, with great recruiting, international recruiting in many ways. Rui Hachimura, the latest example of that, first Japanese-born player to go in the first round. Adam Morrison, who's on the radio crew. First rounder.
And I talked to Adam before the game, and he said something, it's a culture, right? When you play at Gonzaga, it's a culture. They know how they play, how they want to play, what kind of players Mark Few wants to get in. If you're a kid on the West Coast, that's obviously you'd want to be recruited by Gonzaga. But it's now not just the West Coast. Timmy's from Richardson, Texas.
Yeah.
Right? So it's different than what it was, and when we were laughing about the Blue Bloods, I'm looking at Mark Few thinking, well, how far away are you from being a Blue Blood?
Right.
You're as good as any program in the country.
A national championship would help, another
Yeah.
couple trips to the Final Four. But when asked about the key, he said, well, the recruiting and the winning at first, he said, but then the scheduling. And and I'm going to use this label, and Gonzaga fans might be disrespected by it, but as a mid-major from a budget standpoint, it's almost impossible to get teams like North Carolina to come to their building. But they've done that now. They've gotten to the point where teams like North Carolina will play a home and home. Petrusev with the jam, he's got double figures now. And that only helps not only your branding and your recruiting, but your RPI and everything else that helps you define yourself as an elite program.
Tom, there was a period of time when schools wouldn't play them because they were afraid to lose to them.
Yeah.
Until the NCAA said, no, strengths of schedule. We want everybody to play up, get better, schedule better. And that helped Gonzaga, because now they can draw games that they couldn't get for a while. No one really wanted them on the schedule, thinking that would be a bad loss or any kind of loss.
And they're in the WCC where they're undefeated last year. It was interesting seeing only one Gonzaga player in the preseason all-conference team. They're picked to win it again. Andre Gordon at the free throw line.
22, Anton Watson returns for Gonzaga. Aggie substitution, Wendell Mitchell for Yarbouz will take it.
Another free throw coming from Gordon. They got a St. Mary's team that lost to Winthrop, but they returned some stud players. BYU, Pepperdine, Santa Clara, all bringing back a lot of talent. Offensive rebound, that's a rarity for A&M tonight. Mitchell, nope. And then a foul on the floor. And that'll be Petrushev. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central, SEC Nation will be in Oxford as Ole Miss plays host to #1 LSU. Loa Martin, Marcus, Paul, and Tim. They'll break down everything from the gridiron to the grill, week 12 of college football season. SEC Nation presented by Johnsonville right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. I know you want to watch tomorrow, Sonny, because Cole Kublik, who's on our football broadcast tomorrow night, is going to break down gap scheme blocking, and he did so by putting me in the turf at Kyle Field.
That I'm tuning in.
Yeah.
That I'm tuning in, partner. Sean, I have a question for you on the football side. Can LSU have a letdown? Can they have that kind of letdown when they go to Ole Miss and Ole Miss be ready to get them?
Ole Miss is a very talented and dynamic offensive team.
Yeah.
But LSU, there aren't too many teams out there that can outscore LSU. So even if they have an off day and they allow Ole Miss to score 30, 35 points, LSU's so good they're going to score 45.
Yeah. I don't think they'll have that letdown, to be honest. They're on a little bit of a roll, especially after the win.
Open three on the skip, and it's off the mark. Amon Gilder into the front court. He got a bump from Gordon, Andre Gordon, with his first.
Aggies fellow number 20, Andre Gordon.
Corey Kispert Jr. from Edmonds, Washington, will return. Only returning starter on this team.
24, Corey Kispert.
So you didn't pull the blocking dummy away when Cole Kublik was running at you?
I'll do anything for TV.
Charlie Brown, something?
No, I let him get a
it.
shot. Yeah.
Aggie substitution,
all right.
Josh Nebo for Jonathan Agu.
Only concern was I got a grass stain on my jeans, and I got to wear them on the flight home Sunday.
You'll be fine.
Kispert in the preseason scrimmage against Michigan State at 28. They met up with Tom Izzo's team in Denver. Got to go halfway. Gordon with the hold. That's his second.
That was a game. Didn't Watson have 15 rebounds?
Yeah.
Aggies fellow number 20,
So think about this. Not only is Gonzaga at a point where you get North Carolina to come to town, but you pick up the phone, you call Tom Izzo, say, hey,
Let's go to Denver.
let's meet you in Denver. And Tom Izzo, rightfully so, says, yes, this is the level of team that we need to play in the preseason to see where we are.
Yep.
Watson's got 8.
And when you watch Mark Few on the sideline, he's not done. I mean, it's a November game. So there's so much to learn. So far they have to get to be a great team. And he understands that.
And I understand that, but my counter to that would be they have to be on an accelerated schedule because their non-conference for elite teams is more important than anyone else's non-conference.
Right. And we already showed the schedule. It's unbelievable what they have ahead.
Aggie substitution, J.J. Chandler.
J.J. Chandler returns, and Gordon will take a seat. Shot clock at 3. Here's Jackson wide open. Hadn't been a night to remember for A&M. 1 for 17 from deep. Gilder the run out the opposite way, and he'll go to the free throw line. Gonzaga strikes is a kind of team that can play at any pace. They are comfortable running, and with under 8 to go in this one, they got 64. They are as efficient as anybody. The guy nearest the camera in his warm-ups is Killian Tilly. who had surgery October 3rd. He remains out. 14.7 boards a game for a guy who was still injured but looked really good when we watched him in practice this afternoon. Was out dunking during warmups. So he is out right now. And what a difference maker he will be when he gets back on the floor for Gonzaga.
Well, take a look at the highlights. I mean, that's the big post player that pops out, shoots it like a guard, can post. He's mobile. He's active. That's what we were watching in warmups today. I mean, he had a bounce to him tonight. Knowing he wouldn't play, but he's been very active on the sideline, cheering his teammates on. Impressive.
Tilly's on every major award watch list. The Wood, Naismith, NABC, Karl Malone, and Julius Erving watch lists. Preseason all-conference. The only Bulldog named the WCC preseason team. Limited throughout his career because of injuries.
And might, without the injuries, he might have declared last year.
Good point. Yeah. There's Gilder. Edmond Gilder has a motto, he said. He said, leave things better than I found them. He came here to A&M. You could say he did that, and without a blood clot issue that kept him from playing last year, maybe Buzz Williams isn't sitting in that chair right now because they probably have a much better season.
Yeah, came out of high school out of Dallas, James Madison High, and when he arrived, he brought a couple other Dallas Texans with him. He had DJ Hogue out of Plano West. Tyler Davis also out of Plano West. They all played on the same AAU team. So when they showed up, they thought there could be some good things, a couple Sweet 16s. And a year later was Robert Williams, came from Louisiana, who had a couple years here that was terrific. So he made his mark here at A&M, and I think with the changing of the coaches, then it was kind of time for Admon to take a look and say, where could I be effective and end my career? And I think he picked a great place.
We're to the point where ESPN now rates the grad transfers, just like they would rate recruits. And he was the number 8 rated grad transfer.
Number 8 leaving and leaving the SEC, and the number 1 Blackshear came in as a transfer to Florida in the SEC.
Who played for Buzz Williams at Virginia Tech.
Yep.
Poked away.
Good hustle.
Kisper getting on the floor. Ayayi saves it for being a backcourt violation. Great team basketball, but it's swatted away by Nebo.
Good block, good hustle.
And shot heaved. Will be a shot clock violation. After the scramble, Buzz Williams applauding, as is the rest of his team, that effort.
And I like what the bench is doing for A&M. Regardless of the score, these are guys diving on the ball. Gonzaga really handled it well. But look at the hustle by Nebo to get back and block it. Wasn't even in the play.
Chandler off the mark. So tell me, as a shooter, if you're Corey Kisper and you're having a night like tonight, 1 for 10, 1 for 7 from deep, what do you do next time you're on the court?
You show up the next day and go to practice and do the same thing. I mean, the only thing you can do tonight is not force any issue, right? You've missed some shots. He might get a bucket here or there. You might get a layup, might get a free throw. But you go back. They charter after the game. They're probably going to arrive at Spokane roughly 2:33 in the morning. So tomorrow's probably an off day. But most shooters, what's an off day? You're going to probably go to the gym, pick up the ball, just get back to shooting shots, doing what you do.
Josh Nebo with a chance for an and one.
And as a team guy, you're fortunate the team played well and they didn't need your buckets.
They whistled Philip Petrusev for a foul. His second.
32, Josh Nebo to the line for the Aggies, shooting the and one.
And Nebo, who started his career at St. Francis, goes to the free throw line. Gilder with a jump stop, and his shot is blocked. Another one for Nebo. And then Petrusev took a shot in the face as his putback went in. Maybe to the eye.
And I didn't see it, so I'm not sure it was an elbow or just a finger.
He's got a double-double, 12 points and 10 boards.
Good hesitation move by Gilder and a good block.
And Nebo got him with the left hand
Yep.
on the rebound even before the shot.
Yep. You notice, though, how shooters finish the shot and then grab the eye. Not before he could get the 2 points.
Boy, he was too close to not take it. I mean, come on. Aggies held at 29% shooting tonight, just 1 of 18 from 3. And there's a whistle on Nebo.
I like the hesitation by Woolridge up top, and then the somewhat of an off-step, off-timing layup attempt because big guys then can't block it. He missed it, probably got a little smile on his face because of that, but I like the way he did it.
Another one coming for Timmy. Drew Timmy was a below-the-radar recruit until he blew up the Peach Jam going into his senior year. Matt Nordlander does a great job for CBS with his podcast with Gary Parrish as well. Describe him thusly. He said he plays intelligently haphazard. Untraditional,
Yeah.
nonconformist. And talking with Mark Few, they do have that history of atypical bigs having success in their program. Reach-in foul on Anton Watson, his third. They've had some great bigs come through the program over the years.
11, Joel Ayayi returns for Gonzaga.
Ayayi back on the floor, and we'll have free throws coming the other way. Robert Sacre, Elias Harris, Olenek, we mentioned earlier. Kyle Wiltshire, if you want to count him as a big.
Zach Collins.
Yep.
Playing for the Trailblazers now.
Shooting 1 and 1.
Sabonis. Mitchell has another free throw.
Yeah, you think the list of that, the list of the guards, obviously starting with John Stockton way before. Everything blew up, but impressive group. Pangos.
You're in Stockton's generation. Did you ever match up with him in the NBA?
Well, all the time. He played, I don't know, 19 years or something. I played 9, so I'm a year older, so I played 8 years against him. I was in the Western Conference, so six times each year while I was in Seattle, and in San Antonio was a 5 or 6. And only 2 times a year when I was in Miami, but yeah.
So what was the scouting report on trying to defend John Stockton?
Well, John had the great pick. John has great hands, big hands, and strong forearms. And they ran the pick and roll with Karl Malone and John on the wings, and really it's kind of where the pick and roll became quite popular.
Yeah.
So to guard him, and you gave him space because you know he's coming off the screen, but he's the all-time leader in the NBA of assists and steals, so he wasn't looking to shoot the ball as much. But a great team player, obviously one of the greatest point guards ever played. And it was always, a fun to match up. We're different types of players. He was more of a passing point guard. I was kind of a more in-between point shooting guard, but would shoot it on open shots, or they might look for me to shoot the ball.
So then, as Nebo commits his second personal foul, now that's what the NBA is, right?
Yes.
In many ways, and it has obviously evolved. But back then, how much preparation did you guys put into facing Stockton and Malone in the pick and roll?
That's all you talked about. That was all the shoot-around was about. Now, think of Hot Rod Hundley in Salt Lake at Stockton to Malone. That's all it was, Stockton to Malone.
Yeah.
So put yourself in my position back then as a 6'2", about 175 pounds.
Karl Malone's a little bit bigger.
Well, so John's going to get the outlet pass, and me being at my size, you're going to be one of the first 1 or 2 guys back on defense. So here they come. So Fred Brown, the great Fred Brown, in Seattle said, John, don't ever stand as though you're going to take a charge when Big Carl comes down there. Just swipe at it, get out of the way. He said your career will last longer.
That's what they call in the NBA a business decision.
Yes, and the mailman was in a dead sprint when that rebound came off the board. Funny story, Tom, circle of life. My daughter, 2 years ago, graduated from Missouri, had friends who went to Montana State. John Stockton had a daughter that played basketball there. She's going to go to a wedding 2 summers ago in Spokane, Washington. I said, well, good. Where are you going? Well, some girls get married that I've met. She goes, you know, her dad played basketball. I said, well, who's her dad? She goes, well, I don't know. He played some basketball. His name's like John Stockton or something. I started laughing. I said, well, Caroline, when you go to the wedding, say hi. So she comes up to John and says, I'm John Sundbolt's daughter. He gives her a big hug and goes, it is just incredible that here you are in Spokane, and I've known your dad for so long. I said, yeah, the circle of life. So fun times for the Zags, too. Man.
Chuck Mitchell's got 14 as he's able to splash down a 3. A&M uses a timeout. Buzz Williams' team showing some life on the offensive end here in this second half.